Pop punk with breakdowns is a simple way to describe most of A Day to Remember's discography, but this album is more like modern alternative with just a dash of distortion. Greetings, hard and heavy music fans. I'm Dante, you're watching the Heavy Haystack, and today I'm talking about the new album from A Day to Remember titled You're Welcome. This is the 7th album from Easycore King's A Day to Remember, and their first for a new label Fueled by Ramen, after spending 6 years as a free agent following their very notable lawsuit with previous label Victory Records. It follows their 2016 album Bad Vibrations, which marks the longest gap between albums for the band. And that record was a bit of a switch up as the band's usual blend of pop punk and metalcore leaned much more heavy than normal, with some of those tracks bordering on deathcore. With this new record, the band aimed to switch things up again and make a much happier record, while also incorporating some newer influences. According to the band, they demoed 42 songs for this record to narrow down to the 14 found on this finished product, and had songs going from the range of pop punk to indie to full tilt heavy tracks. And this album sounds very different from what I've heard on previous Day to Remember albums, but I think that's for the better. The new sounds seem to draw a lot of influence from modern alternative. Mixtures of clean guitars with electronics and production elements that remind me of artists like Cage the Elephant, Bad Flower, and Oliver Tree. But all these styles are put through A Day to Remember's pop punk filter, making sure that the band's distinctive style stamp is never lost. Tracks like High Diving and Degenerates showcase this new style pretty clearly. The former with its quirky, bass-heavy rhythm and laid-back, cheerful vocal delivery, and the latter with its big, sing-along chorus that sits on a bed of 808 electronic percussion. But the band ends that song with their usual Easycore guitar chug instrumentation, making for a nice hybrid of the trademark sound and the new influences. These new influences make for a big plus on the album as a whole, as it allows the band to have much more variety in their poppier songs than the dry guitars and live drums of pop punk would normally allow. The track Bloodsucker might be the most unlike the band's usual songs, as it's much more electronic heavy in its production and even features millennial whoop backing vocals in its chorus, which is a trademark of many of the big alternative pop hits that you hear on the radio. Despite this style exploration, A Day to Remember tries to keep their sound pretty grounded on most of the songs and not alienate their fans too much. For example, Mindreader is a favorite on the album that's much closer to the band's usual pop punk sound. The upbeat energy and infectious chorus makes this song a big earworm, and it's easy to see why it was so popular as a single. The song Permanent is also trademark ADTR. Simple song structure with big guitars and a big sing-along chorus that's pure pop punk greatness. The variation in songs on this record is pretty stellar, but many of the band's longtime fans may be disappointed in the lack of hardcore-leaning tracks on this record. Resentment is the most popular single from the album as of this video, and it definitely leans to the heavier side of things with plenty of upbeat chugga-chugga goodness the band knows how to bring, but they spice it up with a distinctive lead synth melody to give it a different vibe from the band's norm. Last Chance to Dance is the heaviest cut of the album and goes full tilt towards karate and pit aggression, outside of the poppy chorus that blends in easily like most of the band's good cop, bad cop writing style. This song might be a little too simple in its instrumentation and structure though, and I don't find myself going back to it as much as the other tracks despite it scratching that heavy itch you would want from the group. All in all, I see You're Welcome as a cleverly done album of growth from the band. They try their hand at a lot of experimentation with their sound, adding in electronics and different kinds of melodies, while also keeping enough of their pop-punk foundation to keep their longtime fans satisfied. And they execute all of this with very little sense of growing pains, heavily due to the band keeping their strong sense of catchy songwriting. You're Welcome gets a 4 out of 5, another quality album from A Day to Remember that may take some extra time to grow on the fan base. What did you think of the new A Day to Remember album? Leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the Heavy Haystack if you want to see more videos similar to this one. Peace, love, music, and I'll see y'all next time.